Hello and welcome to my first long form video. My name is Luis and I'm gonna do philosophical stuff on here. What I want to do today is that I just read my last article on Substack and provide some new thoughts to it and reflect in real time on it, because I take this to be like a little performative self-overcoming for not wanting to be seen. So I have to face the spontaneousness in which I cannot shy away from, like over editing or having big scripts or something like that. So it will maybe be some rambling, but I have my text right here, so we can do that with a little anchor. So it's not completely free and yapping, but it's a little bit anchored, I would say. What is this essay about that I'm going to read to you? It's pretty much like a net which is woven out of different little hints which point at a truth inside Buddhism. So I wouldn't say it's like a deductive argument where you have like you already know where you want to go. It's more like an unfolding of something that rings true in Buddhism. I think I'm gonna do it like that you will see now the text right here and I'm not seen anymore. So I'm just gonna read it, and when I feel like I want to comment on it, I will. Nothingness. Shunyata is not the perceptual absence of everything, not the imagined empty room in which only darkness or light resides, where you find yourself as the absolutely unstirred pure presence. Neither is the void the substrate behind everything, in which all forms appear and vanish again. Realizing the void is not an orgasmic ejaculation of yourself so that you remain without ego. It is way more absurd. The void is found nowhere else than now. What I mean by that is that there are certain theories in Buddhism where you want to recognize and realize the selflessness of existence, so that there is not a fixed particular essence which is there through your experience. So there's, like in Western philosophy, the idea of a homunculus, some little creature that sits behind your eyes and watches from there to the outside. It's like the little SpongeBob meme where Plankton goes into the brain of SpongeBob and stirs him. So this is like the idea of the homunculus. And Buddhism pretty much says that there is no essence, there is no enduring self in anything really. So what it is really the flux, and we pin it down through semantical categories. And one mistake you can make when you want to realize this void is that you think void means that everything you see right now is just vanishing into the nothingness, and what resides is only darkness or emptiness. And this is not at all where this is aiming at. It's more that there happens a little conflation in our upbringing, that we conflate the way we think about the world with the world itself, so that we think the categories which we use to navigate our existence somehow mirror the categories in the world itself. And when we think that way, we construct problems out of those categories which we want to finally solve, so that when we define a problem, when we define where we want to go, we will at the same time structure our whole thinking as a journey for arriving somewhere where we will be finally free and at peace. And voidness in Buddhism is pretty much just summed up the idea that it's not really an idea. This would be wrong. It's not only like an intellectual exercise where you think long enough about it and then it's somehow self-evident. It's more like a practical way in which you experience yourself as not being that. It's kind of paradoxical putting it that way, where you experience yourself not as this essence which looks out of your eyes, but that this is a construction of your inner narrative, or inner would be wrong. It's more like the opposition of loud and silent. I mean, you are talking to yourself still, and it's somehow when you just listen to yourself thinking, It's still an auditory experience where just the talking is silent. And then I had a little quote by Nagarjuna: when you can't bring about nirvana, nor the purification of cyclic existence, what is cyclic existence? And what is the nirvana you examine? Clinging to the rock won't save you if both of you are falling from the same cliff. Nagarjuna graces you by snatching the rock. What is the difference between nirvana and samsara? What is the difference between illusion and truth? The idea is, especially in Nagarjuna's work, is that samsara, it's the cycle of birth and death, and nirvana, which is the liberation from birth and death, are actually the same. So there is nothing that you have to go to. So there is no cycle from birth and death where you have to escape to nirvana and finally realize that everything is peaceful and nice. So there is no, there are not two ontological realms. There is not the world of suffering and the world of peace. It's all one world. At least this is what Nagarjuna is getting at. The idea is that the only way we have to navigate life in a conceptual manner is really by thinking. And so it is really easy to conflate our thinking with the world, because it somehow gives us structure. It gives us something where we can cling to and then build from there, you know. And the idea is that Maya, the world of illusion, really is the world thought about and at the same time equated with what the world itself is. And clinging to that world, clinging to that correspondentic worldview where you equate your thoughts with the world itself, this is the cycle of birth and death. Nirvana is realizing that this relationship does not hold, that everything that happens right now is just plopping into awareness and vanishing again. And there is nothing particularly interesting about thoughts, only if you want to do something with them. But there is in itself nothing that you have to arrive at. And at the same time, this is then, or you can take it as a way in which this realization that you cannot escape the world you are in, that there is no other world to get to, that there is no peaceful world of nirvana in which everything is just completely fine. This allows you to face the pain you are in right now without the need to escape. Because it's really paradoxical, the need to escape is why you are suffering, because you cannot accept the way you are right now. Rinzai Zen forces you by koans into the inescapable paradox of the illusion, while Soto Zen penetrates directly into where you are right now. Shikantaza, just sit. Do not be occupied with anything other than sitting. Yet you don't sit. You still want to be occupied with something, because you think this miserable being you are right now cannot be it. All those scars and open wounds, all the anxiety and pain must be smoothed over, so you think. Diving into silence, you immediately encounter seemingly unbearable, overwhelming pain. As soon as you think of your deceased parents, the wounds from past relationships, the uncertainty of the future, or your own death, you do not allow yourself to be that. You have always fought against yourself. So it is the hardest thing to stop doing that. When does the time finally come when you reap the fruits of not having to be yourself anymore? Could I carry that much pain? Could I really be that anxious? No, there still has to be something wrong. You want to finally reach the end of yourself, which would give you liberation. To finally see into the nature of existence, in whose light the demons pulling the strings are finally and eternally burned. As Hang Yen, the fifth patriarch of Zen, grew old, he was in need of finding a successor. Monks were instructed to write gathas in order to display their spiritual maturity. Shen Xiu persuaded monks not to submit a gatha. He then secretly submitted the first and only one, himself, anonymously. The body is a body tree. The mind is like a standing mirror. Always try to keep it clean. Don't let it gather dust. Hang Yen called Shen Xiu into a private room, suspecting that he wrote it. Outwardly, Hang Yen displayed to all monks that Shen Xiu's Gatha was the way. In direct confrontation with Shen Xiu, he told him that his Gatha was not an expression of the final enlightenment and gave him the task of revising his Gatha. Shen Xiu failed to write a new Gatha. Hui Neng, a cook of the monastery, heard of the Gatha and wanted to read it. He compiled the following verses. Body doesn't have any trees. This mirror doesn't have a stand. Our Buddha nature is forever pure. Where do you get this dust? The mind is the body tree. The body is the mirror stand. The mirror itself is so clean, dust has no place to land. Reading this, Hang Yen transmitted the Dharma to Hui Neng, but with the desire for him to disappear from the monastery. Hung Yen knew that if the simple cook Hui Neng were to become his successor, he would be injured, if not killed. Keeping your mirror clean, the desire to find purity beneath the tarnished layer. There is no tarnished layer. There is no mirror. Where should you escape to? Your suffering is the shadow cast by wanting to escape. Where could you stand? Nirvana and samsara are not two. You just want to escape from one. And this is exactly where the want to escape enters. You can treat Buddhism or meditation as a way of trying to escape yourself, so that you sit and you do this strenuous exercise of sitting in pain for many hours. You study hard and you just want to get this thing. And what mostly happens is that you don't see that your want to escape is your unwillingness to be who you are. There is some portion inside of you which you do not want to accept. There is some kind of emotion which you evade. And once you encounter the desire to remove it, the desire to transcend it, the desire to be liberated from it, grows bigger. And you may see now where those hints all come from. The mirror where dust cannot land, you cannot keep it pure. It's all a metaphor for saying that as long as we want to get liberated by method, we put the cart before the horse, because the desire for a method already implies that there is something wrong. It's obvious, right? And when you just can sit, Shikantaza, when you just sit, then there are emotions, there are physiological tensions, there's pain, there's sorrow, there's anxiety, there even may be panic, but it's not fundamentally wrong. There's nothing you want to escape from. And to throw in a little tangent here, I had to deal with panic attacks a long time ago. I think it's now like 6 or 7 years ago. And what those panic attacks really did and where they emerged from was my inability to face certain thoughts and emotions. And if you know panic attacks, they are like, it really feels like when you I think this is good image. It's when you take the camera and you film where it is displayed, so you have like a infinite oscillation which can grow. Or for example, with microphones it works as well. When you put the microphone close to the music box, for example, then it will get a very high pitched and loud, and until it gets so loud that it's actually destroying the devices. I think this can happen. And it's a similar thing with panic attacks, that there is something that you do not want to face, but at a certain point there is nothing you can do to evade the feeling. So the feeling gets so intense that there is nothing with which you could distract yourself from it. It's just there and you cannot do anything about it. And so for me, panic attacks were like the hardest part of my life until now. Maybe, I don't know, I don't know where it takes me. But at the same time, it was really, really graceful because it allowed me to see in a certain moment that the only thing I was doing really was to evade feeling what I already felt. So I was feeling already the pain, and I was always just trying to move away, and this kept it in my awareness. This kept it a continuous song in the back for like 10 months or something like that. When all things are Buddha Dharma, there is enlightenment, illusion, practice, life, death, Buddhas and sentient beings. When all things are seen not to have any substance, there is no illusion or enlightenment, no Buddhas or sentient beings, no birth or destruction. Originally, the Buddhist way transcends itself in any idea of abundance and lack. Still, there is birth and destruction, illusion and enlightenment, sentient beings and Buddhas. Yet people hate to see flowers fall and do not like weeds to grow. Illusion and enlightenment are not different. Shikantaza, just sit. You are that which you are running away from. Shunyata, the void is where you sit, stand or lay right now. Liberation, stop escaping. Emptiness, concepts do not grasp reality. The story you tell yourself, that you firstly have to get to X or lose Y in order to be at peace, is recognized as just auditory mumbo-jumbo. Chogyam Trungpa puts it thus. This is the experience of shunyata. Shunyata in Sanskrit means literally void or emptiness, that is to say space, the absence of conceptualized attitudes. Not the conceptualized attitudes are the problem, but the idea that those grasp the essence of reality out there. This conceptualized reality treated as a device for getting at reality itself, being an accurate mirror, is Maya, illusory. To treat conceptualized reality as reality itself is the attempt to get full based on the recitation of the desired entry on a menu card. In this vein, Dogen's statement that emptiness is emptiness and form is form can be understood. Thoughts are thoughts, forms are forms. Nothing spills over. Form is empty of thoughts, yet this is in itself a thought. When you understand this, you will be able to comprehend the formula, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form is form, emptiness is emptiness. It is the 100 grasses and all phenomena. Which word can you utter which rescues yourself? Phew! After all, it was a trick you played upon yourself. The eternal drama, keeping the wheel spinning. Escaping what is inescapable. Therefore the wise sage, as it is said in the Tao Te Ching, unlearns something every day. The sage realizes that there is no way out, that the only way out is giving up the search for a way out. Yet you cannot do it. Why would you give up the search? Just to be free? See how this can become the same doomed attempt again? You wanting to let go in order to be free? To learn the Buddhist way is to learn about oneself. To learn about oneself is to forget oneself. To forget oneself is to perceive oneself as all things. To realize this is to cast off the body and mind of self and others. When you have reached this stage, you will be detached even from enlightenment, but will practice it continually without thinking about it. So this is just, I think, a pretty natural ending with some little comments. What I wrote it on a little train ride to a competition I was attending, and I hope it did something for you. I would be happy if you would comment or leave a like or subscribe or whatever you want, and we will see where this will carry us. I think there will come more like this, but I have just to figure out which kind of format is the right one for this all. Peace.